Okay, we good now?
Yes, you are live.
Okay, great. I'd like to welcome everybody to the May 7th meeting of the Public Works Committee. Jim Frayer here, and I'll take the roll. I see Barbara Smith, Darlene Young, Melissa Murray, Dewan Wiggins, and did I miss anybody? No, I don't think so. So the first item is the minutes from last month's meeting, which was April 2nd, 2004. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes? And is there any comments or any changes to be made? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor, say aye. Barbara Smith, Melissa, Darlene. Also, I noticed Heather Dunn has just joined, and Dewan. Dewan, are you abstaining?
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to go over the minutes, Jim.
Okay. Heather, are you abstaining or are you approving the minutes? Approve. Okay. So we have four in favor and one abstention. Hang on a second.
Five.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Monique, do you know whether Nora Najelski-Eitner got a link sent to her?
It's Jim, it's
Yeah.
Darlene. I'm gonna go ahead and send her another link.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just see if she comes on. Okay, next order of business is public comment, I should say. Monique, do we have anybody in the audience that would like to speak?
We do. I'm gonna unmute Diane Laracello.
Okay. Good evening, Diane.
Good evening, Chairman Frayer and committee. My name for the record is Diane Loracella, 21 Little Fox Lane. First, I just wanted to thank Public Works staff for helping with the Earth Day Festival and having a table with some educational materials. I also had a table with educational materials, and I will be writing up what I discovered in speaking with people. But I just wanted to thank DPW for their help. Tonight on the agenda, I first wanted to let you know that currently there are two different bills in the state legislature, especially something called Senate Bill 191 that still hasn't gone for hasn't been called yet in the Senate, and so therefore it hasn't gone to the House. It was supposed to be a major food scrap donation and recovery and composting bill, but over the several months, it has been whittled down to mostly looking at large generators like hospitals and big universities, making sure that they register and send a plan to the state DEEP, and that donations of food from these large generators be part of their plan. It doesn't go far enough. It's a piecemeal approach that continues in the state. This will be my third year helping with the environmental community, trying to help the state and the legislature get out of its own way. So it's still not a food scrap bill that will help the city as much as it could. The municipal part of this bill under food scraps was actually, I've been told yesterday, was taken out. And so next session, hopefully they'll have a better bill that will actually send money to the communities like Norwalk to put together an even better program. I also then under item D, under construction and design, I want to urge this committee and the staff to incorporate more types of green infrastructure into construction and design, especially when it's near a river such as 5 Mile River and any storm drain approaches. While we have a lot of engineers that love to build things and put them underground, there are ways that many people across the country are using green infrastructure. We have had some small projects in Norwalk, green infrastructure beyond rain gardens. So you can include landscaping along the river, riparian buffers, that sort of thing. And I just want to make sure that we're not just using underground pipes, which are important, but sometimes we include in more of our larger designs, like Dreamy Hollow, I don't believe had any green infrastructure built in, and I'd like to see that change. Lastly, under number 3, under the undergrounding of Elizabeth Street, and the overhead, putting the overhead utilities undergrounding of Elizabeth Street and across to Veterans Park. I just wanted to say there's going to be an on-site walk and public hearing in the coming weeks that I hope some of you will attend and take a look at. I do believe, because I followed it over the last several years, that I do think putting the
It's
Elizabeth
3
Street.
minutes already, Diane.
Okay, I'll wrap up. I really think that this committee should direct the staff to come back to the Harbor Commission side of this and insist that the electric lines be put in a special pipe and not be right underneath the public ramps over at Veterans Park, the boating ramps. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you very much. Monique, do we have anybody else?
We do not.
Also, I'd like to note that Nora Najelski-Eitner has joined at I think it was about 7:03. Okay. All right. Under new business, the second item we have is to authorize Mayor Henry W. Rilling to execute the first supplemental project authorization letter for the state project number 102-295 for I-95 median reconstruction and resurfacing for the city of Norwalk's remaining demand deposit for the construction of the Yankee Doodle Trail in the amount of $186,452 in accordance with the master municipal agreement for construction projects between the city of Norwalk and the state of Connecticut Department of Transportation, accounts so noted. Do I have a motion on that? A motion by Councilwoman Smith. This is an installment on adding to the original cost. It's appears to be $186,000 more than the original amount of $211,514 to bring the total up to $397,966. And we have Mr. Meehan from the DPW with us tonight. So maybe you'd like to give us a little bit more background on this, Jim?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Freyer. Yeah, basically, this is part of the State DOT I-95 median project. So as part of that, we had asked them to include in with this the radiation of the Yankee Doodle Trail. So at the time, it was estimated, they do what's called a demand deposit. They say, okay, you will fund this for us, and we're estimating this to be $211,000. So somewhere around that. That was the original amount. And now the bids came in, and the bid prices turned out to be higher than was originally expected. So the original amount was done through the basically authorization from the mayors under the municipal master agreement, and it was financed by redevelopment. So there's no original cost associated with going to the Public Works Council. This time around, we're looking to do, it would have to be supplemented through the council, and we're doing that through the grant match program. The accounts are listed there.
Any comments, questions? Ms. Najelski-Eitner?
Just to clarify, are we eventually getting reimbursed by this from the state, or is this a cost that we're bearing, but doing in conjunction with that project?
we are bearing the cost of this, and but we're doing this associated with alongside, to your point, with the DOT project.
Yeah, and it appears that we have already paid, I think it was 211,
211,000, a little
211,000.
bit more than that.
Yeah, $514,000 was already paid. And so this is just when the final estimates came through, it came to another $186,000. So that's what we're approving tonight.
That's correct.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Smith?
Yeah, since we're doing it in conjunction with this project, with the state, are we seeing any kind of cost benefit? Was that the intention in the beginning? Or, I mean, I said, clearly we have an increase in the cost, but is there some cost benefit doing it in conjunction with the state?
Generally speaking, there is on these types of projects, because if you pay for it as an individual project, you have to pay for a mobilization, a few other things that are already being taken care of within the current DOT project. So, Mr. Sotnick, if you'd like to add anything to that in terms of something that's actually been shown for there.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, one of the other reasons too is because with the projects that were going down where the Yankee Doodle Trail was constructed, you had the original project for the Yankee Doodle Bridge rehabilitation where they were working under the bridge, which is right where the trail was constructed, as well as this I-95 median project going through that area also. So there were, in addition to the cost benefits, it was beneficial to have the contractor do the work while they were there instead of having 3 different contractors trying to work in the same place at the same time.
And each one with its own mobilization. That to that point, that's what where one of the biggest cost savings comes into effect.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
I
Ms.
actually
Smith.
have one more question. Is
Mhm.
this hooking up with the Harbor Loop Trail, or is that something entirely different?
Eventually it will be, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
This piece is from the old Our building
Mhm.
over by Selleck Street,
Yeah,
around
yeah.
behind the St. Anne's Club down in that area.
Okay, so because of this, we'll be able to have the Harbor Loop Trail more connected throughout that entire area. Am I remembering that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, a call for a vote. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dewan, I don't see. Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, thanks. Okay, number 3, under new business. Authorize Mayor Harry W. Rilling to execute no-cost First Amendment to the June 13th, 2023 agreement between the City of Norwalk and the iRecycle Inc., doing business as iRecycle LLC, for collection and recycling of glass bottles and cans via the pop-up events in the City of Norwalk. We've seen these around town, and they have been very, very successful. Mr. Torrey, do you want to comment on this? First of all, do I have a motion? Darlene Young moves the item. Chris, do you want to fill in for Tom Szabo? I think this is his role, and you're filling in for him tonight.
Yeah, so the schedule is in your backup of our iRecycle events from now through the summer. Our April iRecycle, I don't have the exact numbers, but it was our most successful iRecycle event yet. I get the iRecycle is misleading because it's plastic bottles that we're collecting. And the amendment to this contract is it's a no-fee contract, and someone bought iRecycle, the name staying the same. So it was a very easy process through the legal department to change that.
Any questions for Mr. Torrey? Ms. Smith?
No question really, but I do have a couple comments. So, when we first approved this last year, I know that I asked everyone to be mindful about the the recycling events that both high schools do for fundraisers. And I have heard some complaints recently from some parents who are concerned that, you know, this might be hurting those particular programs. But I do, and I just wanted to, you know, state this publicly. You know, I know that these events are happening, you know, more in the, you know, in the urban core, you know, down around
98 South Main Street.
Yeah, down around, you know, where sometimes people who might not have a car can bring the bottles there. So these events are not meant to compete against those other events. They're just to help, you know, help people who can't get there. And so I just thought that it was important to point that out.
One of the things we could do possibly, Councilwoman Smith, is maybe put a sign up alerting residents that although the city is hosting this event, there's going to be a school hosted event for their drive as well. So we can kind of promote their event through our event. And if someone chooses not to take the 10 cents and would rather donate it to the city, maybe they'll do it right there. And I don't want to get involved with cash handling and all that. That's a whole another thing. But it is possible to work with the Board of Ed as opposed to competing against them.
That's a really great idea. And I think that, you know, because they have, I know it's the bands that do it. So it's like Norwalk High has a particular Saturday and Brian McMahon has a particular Saturday each month that they do it. So, and these events are on Mondays, it's different days. So I think it's a great idea, Chris.
Awesome. I will talk to Tom about that. And if you can gather something up from the band saying just a little flyer, it could even be, we could even do it if they tell us what they wanted to say, promoting their event as well.
Okay, yeah, I could do that. I talked to the band director at Norwalk High. I don't know the director at McMahon, but I'm sure, you know, I can get some information and then he can follow up with McMahon.
Good, that'd be good. Thanks, Barbara.
Sure.
Ms. Nadjelska-Heitner?
Thank you, Chair. Just quickly, so I guess I just want to confirm that I'm correct, that the city would prefer us to recycle bottles through the iRecycle program rather than our curbside, or is that, I mean, is there some advantage to the city to trucking your bottles and cans there as opposed to putting them out in your curbside collection?
Yeah, if you want to get paid for it, and if you put it out in your curbside collection, the city's paying for it.
Yeah, I think I've always thought that this was in addition to, and otherwise, and also it was going to reduce some of our costs if we could reduce some of the cost of us recycling, picking that material up.
Well, I guess
That's
that's what I'm,
correct.
so that's what I'm asking. So it actually is a cost positive for the city. The more people use the iRecycle program, the less it costs the city overall.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted clarification on.
Okay, good. Any other questions? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All
Sorry,
those in
sorry,
favor?
I apologize. Just one, but then, so I don't understand then, how do these iRecycle people make money? If they're paying the deposit and it's costing them less than it costs the city to have it taken away, like where are they making their revenues from?
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. Like
Okay.
in my world, it's a free event to the residents.
Mhm.
And a lot of people said it saved them a trip to ShopRite or Stop and Shop or
Sure.
Walgreens. So we've got nothing but positives. And honestly, any plastic that we can take out of our recycling stream to reuse is better than, a cost, a cost to dispose of.
Sure, absolutely. No, I just, if the economics of it are not quite resonant or making clear to me, but I'm all for it. By all means, let's save ourselves. Thank you.
Nora, that's the exact conclusion I came to. I batted this around in my own mind is how are they making money on this thing versus the fact that it's making more people in the city aware of recycling. It has a positive impact on the amount of stuff we have to collect. And it's all positive on our side. And frankly, I don't care how they make money. You know, I don't know
Yeah,
what it
it's
is.
really not my problem at the end of the day. As long as
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that I understand how it benefits us, that's great. So thank you
As,
much.
as long as they want to keep renewing the contract, we're happy to do it. Okay, any other questions?
Is there any information about how much they pay people? Like if it's a 10-cent deposit, do they only give you 2 cents per? We don't know.
No, it's kind of by a bag full of bottles, and they pay you a flat rate for the bag. So it was $10 a bag before, and now it's $20 a bag because you get twice as much. And they have it staffed by 2 people. So again, if that adds to your perplexion of how they make money, it's a good question.
It's kind of how
Make it
the
up on,
does
they make
it.
it up on volume.
Correct.
As the Cannon Bottle Drive family, we ran that for Norwalk Marching Band for 2 years, and I would come with a giant truck and pay us per bag. Same thing.
Okay.
Everything had to be separated though, which is nice to not have to do, I guess.
Right. Okay, any other questions, comments? All those in favor? Duan? Mr. Wiggins, are you in favor or?
I'm sorry, I couldn't get to the
Yeah.
button. You can see me?
Yeah, I see you now.
All right, I'm sorry
Anybody,
about that.
any opposed? Okay, it seems unanimous. Thanks. Next on our agenda is information and reports from starting with on construction items. Mr. Meehan, do you have anything comments on either the construction items and the design? I'm sorry, on tree operations, Chris Torrey.
That's
Tree
okay.
And,
I thought you
and
skipped
also,
me.
no, I would never skip you. And you also want to cover the waste report as well.
Yeah, and I'll do it quick, and questions I'll ask after because I'll do them at the same time.
Thank you.
So we removed 5 trees, a locust, a pine, a maple, an ash, and a dogwood. We safety pruned 28 trees. And as a side note, on number 4 on your tree report at the end, we did have a high wind event and rain event on March 11th. Most of the trees that came down were private trees. In that case, we do clean up the area. We don't just push it to the side of the road and leave it to the homeowner. If it falls in the city right away, we take what's in the city right away. But there was minor debris, but I just wanted for you guys to take note that those are events that we do have to deal with. I just wanted you guys to take note of that. Moving forward to the garbage and recycling, garbage is pretty much the same as it was last year. Recycling is down a little bit, and that could be because we stopped collecting from private property recycling like condos because we were making a revenue. So that's the difference in that from last year to this year. But I do have good news. We are right now currently 2 tons over our full 22-23 year of food composting, and we still have 2 months left to go. So that's pretty good. And we've been kind of smashing Rowayton for a while now, the rest of the city. So go city. It is
Astounding.
Food Composting Awareness Week. We do have something posted on social media for that. That's the 5th through the 11th of May. So I'm happy to report that. If anyone has anyone questions, please. Paul, do you have anything with the planting? I'm sorry.
Good.
Paul, do you have anything on the planting? You're on mute, bud.
we are in the process of the planting cycle right now. We've planted approximately 75 to 80 trees, and we probably got about another 150 to go. So we're rapidly planting as we speak.
Okay, thanks. Any questions on any of that for Chris? Ms. Najelski-Eitner?
Just very quick compliment for the cleanup after the high wind event. I put a tree down in Click and Request, and literally, I don't even know, maybe it was an hour before it was cleaned up. I was super impressed. So thank your team very much for that.
I certainly will. Thank you for acknowledging that. Appreciate it.
I think you guys did a great job throughout the city, Chris, and it's unbelievable how fast you get it out there and how effortlessly you make it look. So that's good job. And I think also to Tom Sabo, let's congratulate him. The numbers on this on composting is just completely off the charts. When we start looking at those things, when we were talking about counting pounds, and now we're talking about counting tons, it's just astounding. So hats off. to
And
them.
one of the things with Tom is he's really a one-man band, and
Yeah.
you know, looking into the future with sustainability and moving forward to a greener future, I only see his role expanding in the city.
I agree with you. He'll need some help along the lines. So we'll have to look at that during the rest of the year and when we get into the budget season. Okay, any other questions for Chris? Okay, thanks very much, Chris. Jim Meehan, do you want to give us an update on some of the construction? The status of the projects, I should say.
Yes, so,
And also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but also I wanted to you can make a couple of comments on the recent the miracle on I-95 and some of the work that you guys got involved in. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So in regards to the project themselves, I mean, I know most of you know a lot of the ones that have been listed before. Some of the ones that are listed as advertiser bids or pending contracts are going to start construction fairly shortly, within the next week or so. A lot of them can be very straightforward, but if anybody has any questions about particular ones, I can answer them.
I think if you could just comment on, we had a conversation the other day about Public Works role in this cleanup that went on.
Oh, sure.
That might be good. But
Oh, sure.
before they start, I saw Ms. Najelski-Eitner's hand up.
I may be asking the same question. The 30 Monroe Street soil contamination wasn't one I remember seeing before. So I just was briefly wondering what that was.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
Actually, Paul, why don't you give a little description? As Paul is the project engineer for that, he'll give a little bit better description than I would over there.
That project is a brownfields project. It's the advanced cleanup for work that's being done for redevelopment agency in order to put another area in another building in down there. And the engineering division put the specification package together based on information that we received from the consultant that was working with redevelopment. And then we put that project out to bid, advertised it, and it's now been awarded.
Okay, great. Thank you. So this is the redevelopment project. Great. Thank you.
That we've been assisting them with, basically.
So, Mr. Frere, as to your question about the Public Works involvement for the I-95, the bridge fire. Well, we've been attempting, as you know, it's a DOT project. We've been basically lending as much support as we can to DOT. They taken on the majority of the work on the road itself. Our portion was basically to assist our operations crews assisted their maintenance of traffic as much as possible. We had to assure that the roads that are now closed on top of the bridge on both sides are basically well maintained. We've been coordinating with the police to make sure the operations crew were sending out VMS signs in the next day or two. They may have done that already. I have to double check on that. And engineering department we suspended all roadway activity or roadway construction projects during the time of the I-95 being shut down in order to alleviate traffic and not cause any more potential problems. And we were then dealing with sort of the repercussions of that but we've managed those, so they're sort of back into play now. So we've been basically just lending support as much as we can to DOT and just coordinating our efforts now with the police. The DOT and their contractors did an outstanding job. We're very impressed with the timing of that, and as most people are, and again, just coordinating the final efforts of because now the roads that are both sides of that are local roads, even though the I-95 is the DOT. So we will be working with that within the next year or so when it's decided as to what will be rebuilt.
Great. Thank you.
The VMS signs out there for the committee are City of Norwalk VMS signs.
Yes, that's
we
correct.
installed them. But as for the cleanup and everything, we dropped the truckload of barrels off for the state DOT guys early that Thursday morning, and our, other than the traffic, helping with the traffic and the bridge strikes, that's from operations side, that's all we really did. I give a lot of credit to Don Remsen and the state DOT guys
Yes,
for the work that they did.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing what was done.
it was finished ahead of schedule too, so it was very much an outstanding job done by DOT and again and their contractors.
Right. Great. Thanks a lot, guys. That's all we have on our agenda. Is there any other questions or comments? Okay. Is there any motion? Anybody want to give me a motion on anything else? I'm begging. Melissa, Ms. Murray.
To adjourn?
Oh, good. Do I have a second? All in favor? Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the good weather.
Good night.
Have a great night.
Good night.